Are you ready to bring AI into your practice? Like really, really ready? Because maybe you're pretty excited about it, but there's more to the story. You're not sure where to get started. Well, my guest today specializes in helping entrepreneurs incorporate AI into their businesses. And listeners, I want to make a point here. Typically, regular listeners would know we have guests who are like steeped in healthcare, whether they're the private practice owner themselves or a consultant who it's pretty much the only type of businesses that they serve. We're deviating from that today with good reason because sometimes it's just good to get an outsider's perspective, and that's what we're going to get today. So as we have this conversation about incorporating AI into your practice, our guest today is going to share some really good ideas, sometimes from outside of our world, which can make a big difference in getting started on some things. So make sure that you listen along. I'm Carl White, principal at Market Advisory Group, which is a healthcare marketing agency and also the host of Practice Care. The mission for both is the same, and that's to help private practice owners stay private. That's usually what they want, but care is better when it's the provider of care who owns the practice because they're the ones who are making sure that patient care always stays top of mind. When there's other owners, sometimes that's not the case, but when it's somebody who has to take care of patients alongside making all the business decisions, you can rest assured that patient care is always going to stay top of mind where it ought to be. My guest today is Mariana Dalto. Mariana is a business advisor and AI marketing consultant known for transforming how service-based businesses grow, scale, and lead with purpose. With over 2 decades of corporate marketing experience and advanced certifications from Business Made Simple and the 10X coaching program, Mariana blends strategy with cutting-edge AI to help business owners unlock new levels of revenue and visibility. As the founder of the Dalto Revenue System, a proprietary framework powered by AI, driven by strategy, Mariana has helped entrepreneurs clarify their message, optimize their marketing, and streamline their operations using automation and smart content systems. Mariana, took us a while to get this together, but I'm glad that you're here. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Carl, for having me on your show.
Yes.
Very grateful.
Yeah, and it's a great topic. We've had a couple of AI topics over the past couple of years. AI feels like it has a bit more shape to it, I guess, as it evolves. So this is a good kind of timely episode.
Yeah,
So
this is the year of implementation, so you gotta really pay attention to what's happening with AI this year.
yeah, and we were just talking about this before we started recording. It's what a couple of crazy years for AI it's been. It's a couple of years ago, it's going to revolutionize the world and kill everybody's jobs, no matter what you do. And that didn't quite make sense for some jobs. So then it was, what do you mean? And meanwhile, AI systems are getting better. So this year is, boy, if this is a good year and we're recording in January, this is a good year to kind of get it integrated to some degree if you want to. And we're going to get into all of that. But first, tell us more about you. Regular listeners know that's where I start. I say air quotes. That was a short bio, but that's what I asked for. So fill in some gaps for us.
Yeah, so I bring 25 years of business expertise. I work in corporate for large organizations, supporting the branding, marketing, market research, human behavior. I love human behavior. I've done a lot of deep research for companies to bring new products to the market. And that expertise combined with my AI certification in consulting, being the trusted advisor, doing implementation and data science is very important. And that has been kind of like the shift helping business owners, and professionals, because even I help professionals within their corporations to learn and to implement AI tools, workflows, and AI agents within the business or the department, wherever you're at, right?
Sure.
So it's bringing the clarity, what it's needed for businesses to understand, where do I start? What do I do? I understand there's a lot of overwhelm right now in the market.
Yeah.
So I come here to help you get focused, give you clarity, and simplify whatever you need to get done and implement. That is my goal.
Perfect. And it's a great point on human behavior because even bringing in AI requires not only human behavior, but changing human behavior and mindset. And we're going to get into both of those because it's still humans using it. So let's get into it. Are you ready to bring AI into your practice? The first thing I wanted to ask you about is, you have to train it, right? I mean, if you just fire up ChatGPT or Gemini right now at the front desk, yes, you can ask it questions, but you're thinking more than that, right? So you want to train it to work for you. You want it to work for you as an accurate but very terribly vague way to say it. So fill in the gaps on that, just like the technical nuts and bolts, kind of at a high level.
Yeah, I think so. Everyone started with large language models, which are like ChatGPT, Copilots, whatever you use in your organization. Everyone has different
Hmm.
preferences for large language models. And so the first thing that people technically do is just to start prompting and try to get their work better faster through large language models, right?
Hmm.
So one of the things that I always see that people get stuck is like not knowing how to prompt the right way in order to be more efficient on getting the right output. They always
Hmm.
say, whatever you put in, that's what you get out, right?
Hmm.
So if you don't have a good structure on how to best prompt with the large language models, that's where you get output that is not really helping you. And sometimes people feel like it's less efficient than being efficient because they're not getting what they want.
Yeah.
So there's a strategy behind how you can best leverage the AI tools. And even if it's not the large language models and you use a tool like, I don't know, a video tool or whatever it is for helping you with the marketing, or if you want to build a chatbot, whatever, it's like how you best leverage the data that you have in your company to put it in the system
Hmm.
so it can work for you. So that's what people get overwhelmed. They just don't know where to start, what's the best thing that I need to get done.
Yeah.
And that's where like kind of like they implement but not the right way, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. A comparator that I like in my own mind, tell me if this is, on the right track or not, is let's imagine instead you private practice hired somebody. You hired a billing coordinator. Well, you would train that person. You would show them all sorts of documents. You would show them whatever training you have, your HR, whatever it is, because this person on day one or day 30 doesn't know much about you. They have
Mm-hmm.
some idea of the job, you would think, or maybe not, depending on what their background is. And you would patiently train them and you would realize, okay, they can't do it all yet. It takes time. Similar with your AI agent, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't even start with an AI agent. That's the thing. Like you need to first look at what type of workflows do you have within your departments? So in one department, you have many workflows, many sequences of steps that you take in order to get something done, right?
Mhm.
So first, you need to make sure that those workflows are not broken before you even bring AI into the system. And that's where people got stuck. Like literally from last year, only 5% of businesses, they've been really implementing AI the right way.
Mm,
88% they fail using AI tools, not
mm,
because the tool is wrong or because they don't have a strategy behind bringing the AI tools to their own workflows. So first you need to identify what workflows do you have. Are those working the right way?
mhm.
And then because AI is not going to fix the workflow, it's going to magnify whatever it's not working. So you want to make sure that your strategies within your business, when your workflows are working right, then you bring AI into the system. And
Okay.
that's where a lot of people got stuck last year.
So what's an example of like a simple administrative workflow you can give us just so we can make sure we're all talking about the same thing?
Yeah, so there's you can do scheduling, you can
Okay.
schedule something and then you can have that, you can do reminders. Some of the stuff is just automation, not even AI. So
Hmm.
a lot of people think that, oh, I need to bring AI. And when I start having conversations, I realize this is just automation, which is so
Hmm.
simple,
Hmm.
even way cheaper than implementing AI tools in your workflows.
Hmm.
So, scheduling is mostly automation. A reminder is mostly automation. You can do from an admin standpoint, you can do documentation drafts. So you can have some sort of like collecting the data on things within your business, and then use that data as part of feeding the LLM system, which is the large language models, which is the AI tool,
Hmm.
to help you with that documentation, whatever that is.
Hmm.
Um, if you're doing billing, anything from a finance standpoint, you can also there's systems to help you with that.
Okay.
If you do intake forms, frequent asked questions, follow-up sequences, I mean, there's so many things that you
Hmm.
can kind of implement.
Yeah. 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 But you need some data to train it as well, right? Because you want the response or the interaction between the AI tool, and your patient to be relevant, to be on point, to be, something you would do.
Yeah, so data is important. You cannot have an AI tool without data.
Mhm,
So one of the strategies that we help businesses when we do the assessment is to understand what kind of data you capturing today,
mhm,
and then if you are, a lot of businesses are not. So if you're not, then we'll teach you how. If
mhm,
you are, then okay, what kind of data are you capturing? Then the data has to be clean in order to use it for an AI tool to have a good output. Just bringing any data, unstructured data, without cleaning and putting it in a good sequence is gonna also mess up the output of any AI tool that you use. So
okay.
data is super important. Without data, you cannot use an AI tool. So that's the first step. If you
Mhm.
haven't even captured data, then start working on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one side, that the technical, and it takes a while. I would say, listeners, pick one or two areas to implement, that can um, really save you some time and really just sort of, make good use of the tool. The other side is kind of just mentally being ready to do this, because um, any sort of change initiative, so you're changing the way you did X yesterday to doing it this way tomorrow, it's still people doing it. There's a mindset shift. It's going to be maybe a little messy, some bumps on the road. So what kind of mindset changes do you recommend the owner, the staff, everybody involved, they just need to be ready to make?
Yeah. So you need to start first shifting your thinking. And this starts from leadership all the way down to your employees.
Mhm,
So, um, we've been trained for many years before AI, from, looking at using the search engines and search for something,
mhm,
to now you have a dialogue with AI where you tell them what you need and then it comes back to you, right?
mhm,
Then the other shift is you are you need to stop looking at the things that you need for your business. Let's say, okay, well, I have assets that I saved about, for my marketing standpoint. Let's say I have, certain videos, documents, or things that I use and I want to reuse that.
mhm,
Now you can start creating anything that you want. You don't need to go and use past assets. You can build anything
mhm,
you want. You can be creative. You can work differently.
mhm,
And the third big shift, and this is so important, is like everyone felt like I have the need to do it. I have to do it myself. And now you need to ask differently. You need to ask, what can I use? What can AI agent tool can help me do this, instead of me thinking I have to do the work. So think differently on how you approach your work. And that's the big shift with AI. It's not about bringing the AI tools, it's about working differently.
What's an
And not
example of
everything
that?
can be done with AI either.
True. What's an example of that, of what you just said?
Um, in terms of how can you
Now a couple of years ago, you thought I must use AI. Now you're saying it's shifting. How can AI help me do that? I kind of, I'm not being true to how you just phrased it, but this shift that you just talked about, what's like an example in daily life in a business of
Yeah,
that?
because what happened is people feel like they need to be important. They feel that they need to be there. They feel that they need to be the ones talking to all the customers. They need that feeling of being needed,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So they feel that they need to be important. And that's why it has been like the way we've been working for many years.
Hmm.
Now now you need to be thinking about how you can leverage that differently, right? Which AI tool or technology or workflow can help me do this better? So, and there's a handful of tools that can help you make that shift, but the
Hmm.
idea is to work differently, like is to think outside the box and not feel like you have to be doing everything. So agents are great, but not everyone is ready for agents.
Hmm.
But the AI tools or the large language models are the first step to start leveraging the right way. And then the mindset shift, it's the way how you would talk to the large language model, not to tell them, I want to do step 1, 2, 3, 4. Let the large language model help you with that. Just give them, this is the output that I want to get out of it. What's the best way to approach it? So you really work differently and talk differently to the AI tools in order to get the work done.
Yeah. That's something I've been doing is I need to do X. One, can you help me do that? Can you get that done? And I'm sure the answer is going to be yes.
Always, yes.
But then
Very
it's
confident. AI is
yeah,
very
right. No,
confident in the
yes. Of course,
answer.
like what a wonderful, fantastic, insightful question, Carl. Of course I could do that for you. That'd be wonderful if you got that done. Yeah, very sycophantic. But then you ask how? How would you do that? And what and I find, how would you get that done? And what do you need from me? And then I just get this great big list of I need to know the following 6 or 7 things or whatever it is, and I answer all of them. Okay, you ready to go? Okay, let's give it a shot. Is that what you mean?
Yes, and even like, I mean, the large language models now, they have agents within, ChatGPT or
Mhm,
Claude, so you can start leveraging those agents. And there's within your workflows, there's like 3 type of agents that you can leverage. You have a customer facing agent, which are sales development work,
mhm,
support agents, onboarding specialists, outreach agents. So you have a customer facing agent. Then you can
mhm,
have a back office agent that can also help you, anything
mhm,
with bookkeeping, any report generation, compliance, operations, anything from a back office. And then
mhm,
the creative agents, anything that helps you with building a marketing campaign, content optimization, video
mhm,
creation.
mhm,
So you will be working differently with the agents trying to get outputs done, right?
mhm.
Instead of you trying to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
So you approach your work differently when you have large language models.
Yeah. I saw a neat application, and so much of it is just the way I say it is, it's just the only limitation is your own imagination on what you can do.
Absolutely.
And I saw this neat application. So let's say I'm adapting it a bit, you're a practice manager and you've got staff coming to you all day with questions, which is appropriate. You can take some of it are, and they're all manner of questions because the practice manager job is you are everything. You are everything. Your HR, your finance, your this or that. Um, Start keeping track of the question. Not so much keep track, but if you've got like policies and documents that have the answers to those questions, create an agent that's, the internal FAQ and upload everything you can, everything you've got. You can keep adding to it over time. But instead of the staff coming to you, just say, go here. Because, if you've got like a 9-page HR policy, you can scan it all, upload it. And then when they ask questions, instead of coming to you, go, what's our PTO policy? So go to the agent. Hey, what's our PTO policy? Or can I carry over to whatever it is? And then it'll tell you. And that way you just took a lot of, time off your own desk because you're just quoting the same policies that they can look up on their own. So it's just what's it's not so much a workflow per se, but it's definitely a time savings and it's something that can do something that you would otherwise be doing. It's just like the limit of your own imagination to some
Yeah, one
extent.
thing that I do want to cautious, because yes, you can use AI in so many ways, but I would stay away from things about anything related with human review, right? Like there's part in your workflow where the human has to be part of it,
Mhm.
reviewing the output, reviewing certain things. So not
Mhm.
everything can be done by AI.
Mhm.
And that's why the workflow sometimes is a mix of automation, it's a mix of um, AI tools and also
Mhm.
human in the loop, meaning within the workflow, there's different steps, and then
Mhm.
you need to come in as a human to review some of the outputs to move to the next step in your workflow. So
Yes.
anything that is decision making, that's not AI, that's you.
Mhm.
That's human involvement and how to get that done. Anything that is compliance sensitive, judgment calls, you want a human doing that, you don't want AI. So
Mhm.
definitely AI can help you within your workflow, but there's certain part of it where the human in the loop is key in order to make this process successful.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of objections do you hear? You're working with a client and, you're just starting up or whatever stage. What do you hear? And then what do you say in response to kind of keep moving along?
Yeah, well, everyone is overwhelmed, and that's one of the key things. And
Mm.
and they start with tools and they get frustrated. And so that kind of like the objection is like, this doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they start with tools, with tools, they don't get what they want, and then they're like, oh, this is just, and so they go back to their own way of working without the tools, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always come back and say, don't start with the tools. Start first on how your workflows are systemized.
Yeah.
Some people don't even have clear workflows. They're kind of doing here and there. So maybe have a system about how whatever department, whatever things that you're doing in your business has a process.
Mm-hmm.
So start evaluating how you do your process.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, then you can start looking at maybe automating, maybe putting some AI tools if it makes sense. But the main thing is like the frustration of not seeing work. Now, the other thing is not knowing how to prompt. That was one of the key things that
Yeah.
I see all the time. So really learn how to prompt the right way to get the right outputs, and then having the right data.
Yeah.
Data, you brought it up at the beginning of the show. If you don't have good data, good structured data, you're just not gonna get a good output. And that's been the frustration for a lot of businesses last year. So
Yeah.
my first step helping them is kind of like helping them understand the process, where they're at today, where do they have the gap, what do they need to get done. Try to use the tools that you have today. Don't bring new tools, because that gives you more overwhelm. So
Yeah.
within the tools that you have, how can you optimize the way you're working?
Yeah.
And then you can add more when it makes sense. But use what you have, so then you
Yeah.
don't get too stressed out trying to learn a new tool now or change all the systems because you think that that's the best way to approach AI.
Yeah. I guess it could be a good side learning. Um, if you really don't have processes or good processes or systems, um, that's good to know anyway, because any business, whether it's a medical practice or frankly anything, can only get so far if the work is just sort of in people's heads and done differently. And there's a lot of, that not that it's etched in stone and can never be changed, but you know, most things have most things that have to get done have a beginning, middle, and an end. And that should be written down so that if the person who's doing it today left, chaos would not ensue in the meantime until somebody else came in and then figured it all out. Um, so not you wouldn't necessarily let's bring AI in to secretly uncover all the chaos, but look, you're only going to get so far as a practice owner in your practice. Your practice is only going to get so far, and it's going to even if you're happy with the level that it's at, you're it's a lot less than it could be simply
Yeah,
because all the work is just so chaotic. So
I
it's
think you
worth
need to
doing
start
anyway.
with clarity, and that's where people get stuck, not being
Yeah.
clear about what to do, where to start, where the leader or the team should be using AI, how to keep everyone accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you also want to move incrementally with AI, meaning you
Mm-hmm.
want to start with one step at a time. Don't start like, okay, I'm gonna, start automate or do everything in my whatever department. Start with one workflow, one process, make that work,
Mm-hmm.
and then move to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So one step at a time. Identify where you have the gaps and where you
Mm-hmm.
might want the help of AI in certain areas, but do one at a time so you don't overwhelm yourself and your teams trying to figure
Yes.
that out.
Yes. Um, yeah. I mean, I was thinking like, let's say you run a hypothetical exercise and you said, let's imagine that two front desk people who do different jobs, we said we want them to change. We want them to take each other's jobs. How would they learn it? Would it just be, well, we'd have to talk to a lot of people and da da da, or you're looking for an answer that includes, well, we would go to the manual where we've got, the essential processes kind of written out, and that's where they'd start. And that's success because you still have to talk to people. But if it's truly the job function is just inside each person's head, then you're not ready for AI. I mean, you wouldn't know where to start. So, and you're right, start start at one or two places and just
I
pick
think
something.
one of the things that could be is like having SOPs, like
Yes,
standard
that's kind of what it,
operating,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
procedures, because a lot of people that they may not have that in writing, and that's why they don't have clarity of their workflows.
Hmm.
So if you have a process written down done by a human,
Hmm.
then how can you optimize it as much as you can? So then you can start maybe automating or bringing AI tools within that specific SOP.
Hmm.
That's where I'm going. It's so detailed, but
Hmm.
that's the best way to think about it and to be more efficient with it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, most things are done in kind of a standardized way. Most administrative. Yes. I don't have to keep going on that. So um, we we touched on a lot. We sort of touched on the technical side, data and training, the mindset side. Is there anything that you think though that we missed that we should have hit on?
Well, it's just like having the clarity on where to start. I think that's where people get kind of stuck
Mhm.
there, right? So I think the first thing that people need to understand is like, as a leader, you need to have clarity on why do you want AI in your business?
Mhm.
When you have that clarity, then you need to communicate it to your team. You need to be
Mhm.
transparent, because one of the key things that I notice our teams are using the tools regardless if you kind of are allowed or not within your organization.
Mhm.
And and then if you don't have kind of like a structure and an understanding with your teams, yeah, it's okay to use the tools. These are maybe the ones that they're allowed to be used in our organizations, because also there's data that can't go through any LLM. I mean, it's
Mhm.
dangerous to start putting data, client data. So teams don't know what's safe or not within
Mhm.
sharing with the large language model. So from a leader standpoint, you need to understand yourself why you want AI in your business. You need to be transparent, communicate with your teams, and then
Mhm.
help the teams with the right training. And I'm not saying just skill training on how to leverage a tool, but also a mindset shift on how,
Yeah.
if you do it this way, this is why our organization wants to lead with AI, but always at the heart center to help our clients, right?
Yeah.
And if you bring that with transparency to your teams, and you also, as a leader, show how you use it, give them examples, they can
Mhm.
feel better understanding, okay, well, if he or she uses it this way, I can leverage it better in my role that way. And then help them with training.
Mhm.
So it's a mindset shift training, but also a training skill training. Like, have consistency across the different departments and the teams to use the tools in a way where everyone is doing the same way. Otherwise, you're gonna get outputs that they're all different, and then you will have no consistency on how your business is performing.
Yeah. So have clarity, like, why are we doing this? Why do I
Yep.
want us to do this? Number one. Number two, lead by example. I'm doing it too.
Yep.
And then number three, make sure the training is there. What's a good example of from your clients of like a good example of the clarity part?
Well, the best example is when I talk to clients is about having kind of like, and I can bring this up as the resource that I was gonna share, have clarity on where you want to focus on within your business. So I do an assessment.
Mhm.
And the first step is giving clarity within the assessment, identify what are the areas of impact within your business.
Mhm.
Sometimes it could be, depending on the size of the business, it could be the whole entire business if it's a very small or entrepreneur, or it could be a specific department. So maybe we'll focus on one department and start like thinking as small as that, right? And then you start kind of like, in my process, in order to help people understand what to do next, then we start interviewing the team members within that department within a specific workflow to see what
Mhm.
to do next. And then after that, in the process, we strategize with the team on what are the best AI options or automations for that department, for that workflow. Then we will develop the solutions,
Right,
whatever.
but I mean, just that upfront, a leader, the owner stand up and says, "We're going to bring AI in because." That's how I'm picturing like the clarity statement
And
and saying,
right,
what's a good example that you've seen of, we need to do this because.
because they need to get the time back. That's the one thing that they want. They want more time for themselves. They
Okay.
want more structure,
Okay.
and they want more revenue in their business. That is the main driver why people want to do it. They want,
Okay.
but they want to keep their employees. So what
Hmm.
they're trying to do is figure out how can my employees be better at leveraging the tools so then they can be faster or, do better. And then what happens is, and that's where the fear comes in from an employee standpoint, where a leader comes in and say, okay, I'm going to bring AI into the business, and people feel like, oh, I'm going to lose my job. And it's like, actually, you're going to do a better job if you implement it this way, and then people will get better um, roles or better way of working.
Yeah.
So that's where the fear comes in, and where
Yeah.
that's where the leader is like, they have the fear of the transparency on bringing AI tools because they know that employees will fear about losing their jobs, but actually your job could be way better if you
Yeah.
implement AI the right way.
Well, and who can blame them for that fear? I mean, you look around, you can't go 60 seconds without seeing somebody who, claims to be an expert saying it's going to kill a lot of jobs. I mean, look at it. And you're saying differently. And so I think about like, the typical insurance-based private practice owner. It's not getting easier. Reimbursement gets squeezed a touch more. What if we could be more efficient in a way that, right, preserves us the way we are, but makes us more, we're not talking job loss. We're talking, you know, we're, we're talking not needing to hire more as fast, as we'd like to grow. But imagine, so today we're at 3,000 patients, in our panel. I'd like us to get to 4 or 5. Typically, we'd have to hire more, and maybe we will, but wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to hire as many more? Because now we're more, because we're using the tools to our advantage. We just need to figure out how to do that. And everybody here, we need you. I mean, there's no, I'm not looking to cut. I'm looking to grow in a way that frankly recognizes the realities that are not even any new anymore about what it takes to succeed as a independently owned practice. I want to stay that way. I want us all to stay that way. And here's a new tool that can help us to get there. It's just that we will never get there if we work the way we continue to work.
I agree with you. I mean, businesses are hiring less because they can leverage the AI tools to help
Mm-hmm.
with certain things. But again, you still need to know how to do it the right way. So
It's true. And you
I've
can
seen
totally screw that up. Oh, yeah.
I've seen businesses last year moving into, I'm going to have AI do X, Y, and Z, and the business didn't move the needle at all. And then when
Mm-hmm.
they went back to hire the employees because they couldn't figure out how to do it the right way. So that's why I
Yeah.
was saying, like, it's a fine line. um, Leveraging the tools, I think absolutely it can help you, but you also, if you need to do the right way, otherwise you ended up going back to your employees
That's
because you
right.
that it's not working. But
That's
not
right.
because the AI tools don't help. It's just you just don't have the right system to make it work the right way.
That's right. That's
But
right.
everyone, this is a lot of people have been playing with AI, and now you need to be professional with AI at this point. This is not about playing anymore. This is about um, really getting skilled up on leveraging AI the right way. So
Yeah.
if you are an employee and you're worried about losing your job, the first thing that you need to do is getting skilled up with AI. So then you know that the company knows that you're valuable enough to
Mm-hmm.
um, keep you in the organization because they know that you can take them to the next level because you have the skills to leverage AI tools.
Yeah.
So that is my recommendation for employees who have that fear of losing their job. Get
Yeah.
skilled with AI.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you just heard, well, they want to keep me. We just need to, okay. I mean, this isn't the first time, this isn't the first technology that forced any employee of anything to say, I need to upskill. I need to change skill. I need to add skill. I just do. I mean, there's nothing, it's painful. Change is painful, but here we are. So I love it. And so the other question I asked to kind of wrap up as you start to get there is where can somebody get started? I mean, it's sort of a stupid question in the context of what we're talking about here, but what, we talked about it a bit, but what would you recommend?
So I have this free resource for your audience where there's a mini assessment that they can explore to get a foundation on where they need to get started, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this mini assessment will give them some clarity on the key things that you should be focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you will put that in your
Yeah, it'll
uh,
get in the show notes. Yep.
in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is if an assessment that could give you clarity on the foundation of how you have AI today in your business, understanding the workflows that you have today,
Mm-hmm.
getting some clarity on how you're doing things in your business,
Mm-hmm.
clarity from a human standpoint, in how humans are part of the process with AI. I mean, again, everyone is different and everyone is at different levels. Some people are more experts than others with AI.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll give you some clarity on that. And then also clarity from a safety, compliance, and guardrails on
Mm-hmm.
where you should be using or not using AI, because that is very important, mostly for private practice
Mm-hmm.
um, where you have patient data. This is so
Yeah,
important.
I wouldn't start with the clinical side
No,
at
exactly.
all. I would,
Exactly.
yeah, just big brick wall in
But sometimes
between.
employees might not know that. So that's
Yeah.
where you as a leader, you kind of
Or
have
it could
to
just
bring it
slip
up.
in, you could just accidentally, I mean, because it's, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so that resource will give you some idea on where you're standing today. And then I go deeper in a paid assessment where I go very deep on
Mm-hmm.
everything from a specific workflow. Once you have more clarity, if you are ready to start exploring, if you are ready in the first
Sure.
place, and
Yeah.
then from there, like, okay, what's the next step, or how do I get this done? One step at a time. Again, we wouldn't go and do the whole company because that's not how it works. And that's how
Yeah.
businesses haven't really been successful.
Yeah. Because learning still takes time. And the time available, I mean, is people still have jobs. It's a practical reality. So it takes time. It
Yeah,
definitely takes time. And you want to build some momentum. You want to see, we can do this. Look, we're doing this. Now we're going to do it over here. Build a track record.
well, the momentum starts with implementing one little workflow,
Yeah.
make it work in a work, and then you see the success there. You show it to your employees.
Yeah.
You showcase how this is really helping the business, from saving time, from making more money, from whatever it is. Like when you see that win, and the
Mhm.
employees see the win, then you can go to the next step.
Yes.
But start small, because
Hmm.
that's where, again, overwhelm has been so bad this past year for businesses, and implementing the tools and making a mess instead of like really thinking strategically how to best approach it. That's where what I really recommend people to really go through that.
Yeah. Well, and overwhelm every year in private practice, it just gets a little larger. Again, we hit reimbursement change, um, a completely non-political statement, but the current administration is changing things around in public health. That ripples down. It's not calmer, at least in the insurance-based side, and it ripples through to the private pay side also. So this is excellent. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on and kind of opening our eyes. It's a large topic. We chipped away a little bit, but thanks for doing it. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Carl, for having me over. This has been great. Helping your audience understand, and feel better about it, and have like some sort of like next step where they can understand what can they do after listening to your show, or, maybe
Yeah.
implementing something that could help them feel better and seeing the progress within their business.
Yeah. And anybody who says, well, that won't work here because your because is not going to stand up very well. So just, why we can do it here? Why can't we do it here is the better. I think it's just the more realistic question to be asking, given how things are going. So thank you so much. We've got your contact information. They're going to go into the show notes for this episode, along with the link to your free assessment. Thanks again for doing that.
Absolutely.
So that now people can get it yet another way. Couple of points before wrapping up. First, please subscribe to Practice Care if you have not done so already. Practice Care is one word. We're everywhere, easy to find: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, every player. Over 200 episodes are out. If you've got a question, some sort of question on the business side of your practice, chances are one of our guests has already answered it. And secondly, if you're like Mariana or us and you serve private practice owners, or you're one yourself, and you've got some experience on the business side of private practice, and don't overthink what that is. I've talked to guests and they say, oh, who would care about that? Lots of people are going to care about that. Just because you think it's boring and silly and small and forgettable, it's not. I promise you, everybody's got a question about something. Come on Practice Care, tell the world about it, add to our knowledge base, and I promise you, you'll be helping somebody else out. In the show notes for every episode is a link, a couple of clicks, 2 minutes. Tell us what's on your mind, and we'll get you scheduled as soon as possible. Thanks very much, and until next time.